Hi all, welcome. Welcome to April. And it's April's new moon today. So there was no new moon message that wanted to come forward in March, but today the energy is very clear and the guidance coming forward to share a message for today. Um, April is typically a month, particularly if you're in the southern hemisphere, where we're going into autumn. In the northern hemisphere, you're going into spring. It's a time of transition. It's an in-between place. An in-between is a great space for us to notice what is it that is transforming. So it's a bit like being in the cocoon between being the caterpillar and the butterfly. Where am I at in that process of my own evolution? And so 2021 is 5 years. It's a year about freedom. In the beginning of the year, I ran the Freedom Blueprint. Some of you participated in that. And now's a really, really amazingly powerful time to take stock and to connect with where are we at in this year? What has actually transpired? Not in the right, wrong sequence of events, not in the evaluation of am I on track, but more a sort of contemplation and a reflection space of saying, okay, let us have a look at, life moves quite quickly. We just have a look and step back and say, what am I proud of in myself? What have I managed to notice? One of the core cards for 2021 is it's time to create the life you want to live. But there were two cards that supported that. The one is be brave, and the other is express yourself. And so, where have I been brave? And please contemplate this, because you have. It's impossible not to have been in this lifetime, in this year that we're in. So where have I been brave, and where have I expressed myself differently, and what is it that I'm inviting in and creating? And in this month of April, which is actually a 9-month in this 5 years, so 5 years about freedom, 9 is about closure, and not so much endings, but more closing off. What do I need to put to rest, put aside, and say thank you? Thank you for participating. Thank you for being part of my life. Thank you for all that I've learned. And now I'm going to move into something new. And so we have this beautiful month of in between where we can step into that contemplative and reflective space. I am going to be offering a program around integrating the freedom principles that were spoken about at the beginning of 2021. So when I channeled the personal freedom blueprint, there was 5 principles that really elicit what freedom is about. And if we can integrate them and embody them, own them as part of our makeup, the way we approach life, then life really has a completely different take to it. So you can watch the space. I'm going to be sending that out in the next couple of days or weeks. I'm not sure. It's percolating. I know it's there, and it will come to life as it needs to. Also, for those of you that are keen on getting some guidance in this time and space, the rates for the first time in 2.5 years are changing on the 18th of April. So this is the last week to be able to book readings at the previous rates. And also there's some things that I've been offering on my website, the energy calendar, the soul name reading, the meet your guides reading. These are no longer going to be available after the 18th of April. So if you want to have a look at what's finishing off, you can go and have a look there, because it's a time of creation. The new things will be popping up as we go along. And also last chance to get the readings at the 2019 rates. So enough of that. Let's have a look at what the guides want to talk to us about today and this new moon energy. And it's a very gentle energy at the moment. Gentle, not necessarily that there isn't disruption and transformation, but gentle as in a sort of compassionate desire to support. Again, if we think of that cocooning kind of energy, there's a sort of sense of death in there. There's a sense of things that need to close off, but there's also a safety in that, and there's a comfort in that. So we can know that we're being held through this time very much. So like all the new moon readings I do, there's 2 cards. The first card is, what do we need to release? what's time to move away from. And the second card is what's the invitation? What can I embrace? What can I invite? And what can I allow to come into my life at this point in time? Okay, so there's the release card, and there's the allowance or invitation card. All right, so the card that comes up as the release card is coping is not the same as healing. Coping is not the same as healing. This is a profoundly impactful and important thing to start paying attention to. I've been doing a lot of research in the working world and the impact that working from home and COVID has had on people. And it's really so profound to see the levels of burnout that are existing, and those burnout existing because we're in coping mode. And so when we can see coping mode, it's like a mask. It's like a sort of sense of something happens anywhere in our life, a trauma, a difficulty, a pain, something that's stressful, and that happens. And we get very quickly into a reactive mode where we go into dealing with it. Yeah, so it's a great human experiences. Let's just face it and deal with it. And it's amazing because we have in that moment infinite sort of resourcefulness to just sort it out, deal with it, do all these things. And as a mechanism in life for working through things, it's powerful. Because in that moment, the adrenaline rush is huge and it gives us so much ability to do things we did not think we would be able to do. The truth of it, though, is that that is supposed to be temporary and get us through the initial phases, and then we can move into a state of processing that emotion, talking about it and releasing it from our physical system, and then moving into a place where we're more relaxed and it's moved away. And there's so many healing modalities that work with that, how we release that which we're holding on to. And so noticing for yourself, what are your coping mechanisms, and how are they helping you? And typically a coping mechanism is going to take you into a state of high alert. It's going to be a state of performance orientation, a state of getting everything working, making sure you're producing, doing everything that needs to be done, keeping everybody happy, doing these sorts of things. These are not all coping statements, but for many people, these are a response to feeling fear or feeling insecure or feeling like, something is out of control in your world. And so just becoming aware of it is that these coping mechanisms are being asked to be seen, almost like looking in the mirror and seeing, okay, so that's a part of me that has done a great job for a very long time, but might be tired. And in that tiredness, what do I need to honor and process and reflect on? And how do I find another part of me that can use energy from a different source, not from this place of fear and not from this place of defensiveness, and certainly not using adrenaline as a source of energy to deal with life's complexities. And so notice for yourself, in which area of your life are you feeling exhausted and depleted? Because that may start to give you some clues as to where this is playing out for you. And you may have been doing this your whole life. You could have come up with a strategy when you were 10 around how to keep people happy, and what I must do to stay safe, and how I'm going to, be rewarded and validated and accepted in the world. And these may not be the natural, truthful expressions of you, but more the sort of performance part of you that's coming up. So that takes us into, so what is the card that comes forward in terms of what to allow and what's the invitation? I smile because honestly, you hear me say it all the time, I can't make this shit up. Is the card is you are safe. And I was just talking about that. So there's the card. Let's just get the camera to do that for you. You are safe. I was just talking about this relative to this card, is the difference between putting on this performance mask, this coping mask to the world, and being able to settle down into a place of ease on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. And from an ease perspective, show up in your life more authentically you. The doorway to that is knowing you're safe. For as long as we feel unsafe, like the world is dangerous, or like I'm in some way, shape, or form under attack, or trying to protect myself from any of the fears that are natural and instinctive for us as human beings, we put on that Brené Brown calls it the armor. We show up in a way that is expected. And so often when I'm working with individual clients, and certainly when I do the Lifting the Veil journey, the number one mantra to move from this part of me that wants to perform, we can call it the ego if we want to, and the part of me that wants to show up authentically is this mantra: I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. And it's well worth noticing how you can integrate that as a instruction to yourself. Nobody's going to die here. And if they are, you're probably in a completely different state. I'm talking about when we're going through the normal day-to-day actions and we have this need to defend or retaliate or attack or perform. Is just this mantra: I am safe. I am safe. And to take a breath and to use that as a place of just pausing between the reaction part of you. And in that moment of choosing to acknowledge you are safe, coding into yourself that there's a place of ease, you may start to identify new ways of responding to exactly the same situation. And this is how we move into a creative place in our life. We step out of this reacting into creating. And so that is the beautiful, beautiful reading for this new moon. So you can play around with that. And if you're wanting to learn more about your own coping mechanisms and how to interrupt them, please feel free to get in touch. Sending you lots of love. Namaste.